Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 50th episode of the FamVestor podcast. I'm your host, Sonny Burns.
And I'm your co-host, Sunmarie Burns.
50 episodes.
50.
It's been an incredible journey. We're almost at 1 year since we did an episode a week.
It's amazing. I don't know where the time went.
Honestly, it's crazy, though. You know, we committed to this thing, and we've seen it through. It's been challenging. Like we've mentioned before, 95% of the episodes are recorded just like now after 9 p.m. Once the kids were tucked away. And, now we have 3 kids. When we started, we just had 2. So it's just grown harder and harder. There's been a couple episodes where I'm just bouncing Kaylee with my bouncer on one foot and just talking the episode throughout the rest. But, we made this goal. We set a determination, and we've done it.
Yeah.
50 episodes. There's probably going to be a few changes, from here on out. We're thinking to do one episode every 2 weeks just to make it a little bit more manageable. We have a lot going on in our lives, now 3 babies, under 5 years old, although our eldest is about to turn 5, which is exciting.
Yeah, 1 week away.
1 week away. We decided to get him his first little kid digital camera. I think he's going to be very excited about that.
He keeps asking if he can use our phone to take pictures because he loves taking pictures. And anytime there's something he's excited about and he wants to remember it and keep memories, he's always like, "Can I borrow your phone to take pictures?" So we've decided it's a good time to get him a little digital camera.
Simple camera. It was $23 on Amazon.
Right.
And I think he's going to really enjoy it, and hopefully it grows his creativity and love for photography.
It's a nice sturdy one in a rubber casing, so if he bangs it around, which inevitably he will, at least hopefully it'll survive.
Yeah. Anyway, today we wanted to kind of do more of a recap of, the 50 episodes that we've covered, our favorites, what we've talked about, and just our overall mission here at FamVestor and what we want for all of our listeners, what we want in our own lives. And just thank you guys for being on this journey with us and for, sharing with us your time. And we hope that what we've shared with you has been valuable. Definitely, we love all the feedback you guys give us, and keep that coming. Go to famvestor.com/contact, and you can just leave us a little note. It really does make a big difference. We thank all the reviewers. We have 100+ reviews on iTunes. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the show.
You're listening to the FamVestor podcast. If you're looking to raise your family with intention, gain financial independence, and live a life of true freedom, you're in the right place. Join us as we explore together how to create thriving families, because strong families are the cornerstone for a world at peace.
Welcome back, everyone. So today on our 50th episode, we want to go through, some of the highlights, some of, the powerful insights we've gained from going through 50 episodes, a lot of them guests, and we started to see kind of a general theme that we want to share, a general trend of these successful families, who are building great things, doing great things, and living their lives on purpose, and are, really doing what matters, staying true to the important things and not getting sidetracked with these, fanciful projects or these money schemes, but really in alignment with who they want to be. So a lot of those things have to do with like gratitude. We've seen a lot of these families are just grateful for the awesome life that they're able to lead. And, we say awesome, and we think it's easy, because they've reached this plateau, this pedestal, and maybe that's why they're grateful. But no, I really feel like they are successful because they have that attitude of gratitude just deep within them, and that has propelled them forward.
Right. I think that is a key ingredient to a lot of successful families, just in the attitude that you approach life. That I am blessed in so many ways. My family, the gift of my family, the gift of our life, and the gift of my potential to do and achieve whatever it is I set out to do. And that is definitely a common thread that we've seen through a lot of these episodes, is just the immense gratitude that each of our guests have expressed through the episodes. So that's one key that we noticed
Yeah, since starting this podcast, we've actually made it a habit pretty much nightly to ask each other, what are you grateful for today? Name like 3 things. And no matter how rough our day is, and we've had some rough days, especially recently, we can definitely always like name off, oh, I'm grateful for this or grateful for that. And it's a great way to end the night. We're just lying in bed together, and that's a great way to put a capstone on the night, because you can be grateful no matter what happened that day. There was some nuggets, some
Right.
good there.
And it resets you in a mood of, oh, gee, maybe things were rough, but they weren't all that bad. There's actually a lot to be thankful for.
Right. Another big theme we see in these successful families is just the intention that they approach their lives with. A lot of them don't watch TV. A lot of them don't even have TVs, which was kind of surprising. It was interesting interviewing these people in this common theme of not watching TV, not having a TV, and just living their lives with intentionality. And that's, also another reason that they have so much success, because they planned for success and they didn't have all these diversions that were in their lives. They got rid of those diversions so that they could pursue their path to where they wanted to go to. So these families that are seeking to live intentional lives, they're not seeking, comfort and ease. They are challenging themselves. They're taking challenges head on. They're having a positive attitude, and they're building great things. It's not an easy life, but discipline, I really believe, equals freedom. So they're building these lives of freedom, and they're, in alignment with who they want to be.
Right. And I feel to that point, too, it can be an overwhelming thing to think about, you have these grand ideas, you have a plan, and you've made intentions, but it seems grand. And just to keep in mind, one step in front of the other is all that it takes.
Right.
You take on that challenge. Don't tackle the mountain all in one day. Take a small step forward, and if you do it consistently enough and you stick with it and work day after day after day towards whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve, you will eventually get there. And just not to let the negative self-talk that can get into each of our heads. It's only natural that we all challenge ourselves. We're our worst critic, to kind of subdue that little voice and say, nope, I'm going to move forward with this. I'm going to be steadfast with this, and I'm going to get there. And it's showing time and time again as we speak to all these wonderful families that has been their experience.
Right. They enable these good habits, and that's key. These little habits, these minute actions that you make on a daily basis, and that's what builds those great things that seem so successful. It was those little incremental steps that got them there, and it was enforcing those good habits, those positive mindsets. That mindset is so important too, and just these,
Right.
Once you have that mindset and the daily rituals, it's such a powerful formula.
Another realization that we like to bring up and that we've noticed as a common thread is the concept that time, not money, is your most important asset in life. And just finding a way to get yourself more time is the key to a happier life. If you have the time to invest in the things that are important to you, you will feel more fulfilled and more aligned in your life. So that's another thing that we like to focus on in our podcast, and we've seen it time and again about how fulfilled people's lives are based on, pursuing time as opposed to money.
Yeah. And another thing with these families that are successful, the whole family unit is in unison. They're all on the same page. They're all working towards the same goals. The husband and wife are aligned in the mission of, building this family that has, good finances, good freedom, but also just a whole family that's in sync and building something awesome.
Right. And a lot of our guests will say this, and we say this too, is that if the husband and wife are not in alignment, it's very hard to go after a dream, because ultimately that'll cause a divide in the relationship, and that'll have to be dealt with, and it's not fun.
Right.
And to be on the same page is so key
Right.
to success.
Because what's the dream for? The dream is to build that ideal family, and if you're not doing it together, then you're not doing it right. So now we're going to go into each episode and give you the best highlight of each show. So in episode 1, it was really just our introduction, what we're all about. We were talking about how we started working, how we had kids, how we bought rental properties, and just, our quest for a frugal, fantastic, financially independent future. So building up passive income streams so that we had the time freedom to invest in our families and really create something great.
Right. In episode 2, we talked about our travel hacking tips for getting around the world with small children and just, not being limited by finance or anything in that regard. We talked about travel hacking and flying for free. We had $10,000 in free flights that we shared about how we got that done through credit cards and so forth. So nice tips there. And just the takeaway from that was that no matter where you're at in life, where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to travel, you can travel. If you have small children, you can still travel. And there's always a way.
In episode 3, we talk about our wedding story. The average wedding cost in the U.S. I think is around $40,000 or $60,000. I'm forgetting, something astronomical. And we talk about how we got away with just spending $3,000 for our 100-person wedding. $3,000 out of pocket. I think in total it actually cost like $7,500, but after cash gifts it was $3,000. So we go through the nitty-gritty of how we were able to go from $120 a plate to $35 a plate, all the bargaining and everything we did to kind of have that happen. So if you're planning a wedding or know a friend who's planning a wedding, listen to episode 3. That's a great one.
Right. No reason to go into massive debt.
Not a good thing to start your lives with.
Right. In episode 4, we talked about managing your money with mastery because truthfully, money is a gift that needs to be handled properly, and we each need to learn how to do that in our life. And those of us who learn to do it sooner can make greater difference when we understand our money better. So we talk about saving methods and how to track your spending and spend more responsibly and just have a better grasp of where your money goes because it goes fast, especially if you're not keeping track of it.
Yeah, we do a detailed case study of how we saved $75,000 in 2 years. And I think there was 10 points of how we did that. That was right after getting married. You were a teacher, I was an engineer, and we were able to save that huge lump of money, and that's how we got started in real estate. Talking about real estate, episode 5 of the FamVestor podcast, as it's spooling here, is talking about house hacking and how we, started our real estate investment journey by buying a 4-family house and how we went from there to buying another 3-family house and then another 4-family house and just our whole journey in real estate investing and why we did it. We did it because, we lived in one unit, rented out the other 3, and we were able to live for free. And stayed at home with our son, and so we had to live off one income. And this was a way we got rid of our most Americans' biggest expense is their housing expense.
Right.
Usually takes away like 50% of their income. So we got rid of that by having, tenants that we helped support, and they lived on the property, but they paid the mortgage, the tax, and insurance, and that way we could continually grow off one income. These other passive income streams keep expanding our real estate rental portfolio while still yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool listen there. Episode 6 was backpacking through Europe with a baby, our family travel tips for getting around with kids. It was another travel episode, but definitely more geared to families with young children and their concerns about traveling with little ones.
Yeah, so we did 3 weeks in Europe.
Yeah.
With nothing but carry-on. So that's a great one to listen to too.
Right.
Episode 7 is just kind of talking about some of our crunchy ideas. We talk about barefoot running, natural family planning, natural birthing, homeschooling, and a number of other things too.
Yeah. Episode 8 was teaching your kids about money because that is an important topic and it's something that's not really covered very well in school for children. So their understanding of money mainly comes from their experience growing up as part of a family. So what you model to them is what they'll take away in their future. So we talk about some ideas on teaching your kids about money. Perhaps giving them a job. For us, our son rolls quarters for our laundry machine, and for each roll he rolls, we give him 25 cents. Or the idea of doing a lemonade stand and becoming entrepreneurial, thinking about, well, these are my expenses to buy cups and lemonade mix, and this is what I can make off of my expenses. So some ideas there, and just talking about the importance of teaching your children responsible stewardship of money.
So episode 9 was 3 principles for a thriving marriage. And, we talk about just, our marriage and how we've developed our marriage, how we, never take each other for granted. We're constantly investing in our marriage, reading books, listening to audiobooks, going to marriage workshops. And those 3 principles, you're going to have to listen to get all 3. But the ones I remember right now is, align with the higher-minded partner. So, like if your wife wants to go to church and maybe you just want to sit home on Sunday and watch TV, go to church. So just align with the higher-minded individual. Always be on the same team. If the kids are fighting you, be on each other's side. Husband and wife alignment is the most important and key to a successful family. Third principle, listen to the episode, you'll find it soon.
Episode 10 was living life on purpose and taking massive action. And this is about, setting intentionality for your life, not drifting, but having a clear plan and a clear mindset and taking action on that. Don't let fear hold you back from what you want to accomplish.
Episode 11 was our very first interview on the FamVestor podcast, and it was so good. Like, it's definitely one of my favorites interview on the show. I was so excited that he was, I don't know, it was so good. And I was so excited he was our first. But Dustin Heiner, he has 4 kids, just works for himself, supports all 4 of his kids just with rental income, with, I forget how many rental properties he has, but they travel the world. It's a really cool show. Give it a listen.
Yeah, episode 12 was
what?
Sonny Burns' Ultimate Resources.
This is one of the few episodes, maybe 3 episodes in the last 50 that I recorded solo because you abandoned me. Maybe you were having a baby or something at that point.
Maybe. But yeah, he shares about his resources on the resource page that you can find at FamVestor, because he does have a lot of really great resources on there for
anyone. Really, there's resumes, there's real estate landlord forms,
there's birthing plans,
there's riddles.
It runs the gamut.
Really, it's something that I wish I had from other people too.
So you went and you made it.
I made it. Golden nuggets for you. Episode 13, we talk about Amazon FBA with Jonathan Jesper. He has lived a pretty cool life. He has a young son. Actually, do they have 2 now? Anyway, it's a great episode about Amazon FBA. So just selling, instead of, just creating a digital e-commerce marketplace and, allowing Amazon to distribute through their Prime logistics. And
beyond that, he also gets into deeper things just about mindset as far as business, because he's been a business entrepreneur for so long, and he's had a lot of bumps in the road, as most entrepreneurs do, where he's had big successes and big failures, and just how do you overcome those. And it's all about the mindset and the pursuit of happiness, discovering what it is in life that makes you truly happy and fulfilled, and making sure whatever you do aligns with that and going for it.
Yeah, cool.
Episode 14 was prioritizing your dreams and maximizing every moment with James Masadi. What really impressed me talking to him is just his organization.
Oh, yeah.
He was a really organized guy, very scheduled, and he kept everything in his life in alignment. Nothing was out of balance. He had a very busy life, a lot of things going on, but he had this color-coded calendar that told him this is specific time for work, this is time for, turn off the phones, turn off the work, turn off that mindset, and just fully focus on family. And I think that speaks a lot to his success, and just it's a lesson we can all take home with us, because sometimes as we're driven, passionate people, we get carried away and focus on our endeavors, and sometimes other areas of our life, suffer for it. So organizing your time well is the takeaway from that episode.
Yeah. Episode 15, we talked to our family chiropractor, actually, Dr. Peter Squirtle. He's really cool, though. He's one of my favorite doctors by far, one of 2 doctors I like in this world. And he just gives us some tips to nurture a healthy family. We even discuss some real estate he does, and just maintaining, a healthy body. And
the importance of, no matter what you're pursuing, that you don't forget about taking care of your health.
Right, that's key. No matter how much success you have, if you have a failing body, it's not worth it. Take care of your body.
Right. Episode 16 was Natural Family Planning with Jill Cherry, and she explains the ins and outs of a symptothermal method of natural family planning. We took the course with her, and we learned so much through it, and we wanted to share our experience and our knowledge with our audience, because there's just something you don't hear a whole lot about. And so she really shares some great information about natural family planning.
So episode 17 of the podcast, we talk about my entrepreneurial journey, starting out from selling candy to snow shoveling to working at Taco Bell to flipping cars, all sorts of things, and just, where it took me and all the skills I developed from doing all those entrepreneurial pursuits. Episode 18, we talk with Paul Steffen, who retired from the military with $144,000 in savings, and that was in 4 years. And I felt it was so cool to hear his story, because so many people, are making a decent paycheck in the military, not a great paycheck, but most of your expenses are covered. And, they just buy fancy cars and they leave with nothing. So I thought his story was a great example of, how to do it right.
Right. Episode 19 was about Sonny's journey flipping cars. That he flipped 19 cars by the age of 24, and he's gotten very familiar with the ins and outs of buying and selling good cars.
Right. I was helping my sister just 2 days ago trying to look at a car. It was junker, so we didn't buy it. But yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to start and to accumulate some money that way. House buying isn't for everybody, but car flipping might be your deal.
Right. Episode 20, we talk with Jordan and Leah Clint. They have 5 kids, and they are house flippers, homeschoolers. Really cool. We have a lot of homeschoolers on this podcast. We don't target them, but that's who ends up going on our show. Definitely a cool episode. Check it out.
Episode 21 was From Nothing But a Dream, One Family's Journey to 73 Rentals. It's where we talk to Harv and Corey Jones, and really an inspiring story of just starting from nothing, bare bottom of the barrel, and just going for a dream and building it. Really inspiring.
I liked that episode a lot. Episode 22, we talk about buying big bargains and living thrifty. So it's just like about negotiating properly, about how we get a lot of our deals. We are really good deal shoppers. So check it out.
Episode 23, Airbnb, and Let Airbnb Unlock Your Freedom, where we talked to Julian Sage about Airbnb, basically, and how to run one from your home.
Right. Not an Airbnb in that one, Sunmarie.
Sorry.
Episode 24, we talk about voluntary hardship. And just, what?
I'm still laughing about episode 23. It was a good episode.
It was.
I just said the word Airbnb too much.
You said it like 10 times.
Sorry.
Anyway, voluntary hardship. I think it's really cool. It's something close to my heart. And just really developing yourself, hardening yourself, making yourself the best you can be. And again, I'm talking about not pursuing comfort and ease, but pursuing growth, pursuing challenges, and just making yourself the best you can be.
Right. Episode 25, we spoke to Lou Chen, and he was an inspiring interviewee.
I loved him.
We talked about how he retired at the age of 38 with
his wife
3
too.
kids.
His wife retired too at the same time.
Both of them
from New Jersey.
Retired, living at home with their 3 kids, living off $40,000 a year in passive income, and how they did it. Pretty fascinating story.
I like that one a lot. Episode 26, we talked with Annie Dickerson. It's funny, we went to the same elementary school together, didn't know it, and we linked up later on because she's a podcaster too. And we just talk about syndications. Syndications, I'm not going to go into it. Listen to the episode if you're interested. And just creating passive income without doing all the legwork of normal real estate investing.
Episode 27 was one of my personal favorites. It was with Rocky Lalvani, and it was about creating a life plan and raising creative, resilient children. And I thought that the tips he gave toward mapping out your life plan were so great. I found the episode incredibly inspiring, and I hope you do too when you give it a listen. Okay.
Episode 28 is really cool. We talked to an intentionally homeless family of 5, and they are intentionally homeless by house sitting, and they travel the world by house sitting. They've been to Europe, they've been to Asia, and they have 3 kids, and they're house sitting, and they've even done a house sit in Europe where they had 83 animals they had to take care of.
I think something like that.
It was a really cool story.
It's
fascinating. They, travel for free by house sitting, and, he still works digitally as an accountant. Check it out. Cool episode.
I never even knew you could do that. And the idea to travel the world is in everyone's minds, but you think, oh my gosh, it's going to cost so much money.
Right.
How would I possibly do that and not be able to sustain a job? Well, they have figured out this way, and it is fascinating.
Yeah.
Episode 29 is The Art of Landlording, where we talk to Al Williamson about maximizing rental income. And we go into Airbnb in there as well. He's got some really great tips on how to maximize your rental income. But also what I found inspiring about his story was just how he was able to transform a neighborhood just through owning in it and creating a property that people wanted to live in.
Organizing activities and just building up the community.
Right. Very inspiring.
Episode 30, we talked to Brian Yoder, who ran a 100-mile race. He did it in under 24 hours. Just really cool guy. We talked to him about his business. Check it out.
Episode 31, Tidying Your Life. We had just come off of finishing the Marie Kondo book, and we went through our home and followed the KonMari method, and we talk about our experience there, how we went from 78 pairs of shoes down to 38 pairs of shoes, I think, and just also the mindset that we have so many things we aren't even aware of, and taking control of your life.
Marie Kondo lied, though. She said that we would never be messy again, and we are messy. We are definitely messy.
Well, we probably weren't as diligent as she wanted us to be.
No, we should get a refund. That's what we should get.
No.
Episode 32. Episode 32, we talked with Holly and Tad Grosvenor. Anyway, they're a cool couple. We talked to them about a lot of really cool stuff that you don't normally know about, but it's important to know about. We talk about death, medical payments, wills, and just even how they had twins and how that really shook their lives up and changed things. But just, dealing with the unexpected from them. Cool episode.
Right. It's a great episode to really think about the things that aren't normally talked much about.
Yeah. And they give some really good insights.
Yes. Episode 33 was about being bold. Episode 34.
Another one you seem to have missed out on. That one was all right.
Did you do that? Was I not in that one?
I don't think you were.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't remember that.
That's a nice picture, though, on that thumbnail.
It is. Let's breeze over that episode.
Okay.
Episode 34 is eliminating $2,000 of debt in 2 years.
$2,000. That's chump change. This is $200,000 we're talking about.
It's getting late. With Denise and...
Dennis, what are you doing? You need to go to sleep. We gotta get this episode done so you can go to sleep. Anyway, that was a cool episode. Man, that story in that episode was so tragic. But yeah. Anyway, it's a cool story about how they got rid of $200,000 in debt in 2 years.
Right.
And yeah, that story, man, that's a lesson of why you never loan to friends.
But it has a happy ending. And that's the important part. They show us how to get out of that high amount of debt. And It is totally possible.
Episode 35, we talk about just it's like a case study of how we went to Florida and all the activities we did there for a very low dollar amount. So just a case study of frugal family travel.
Episode 36 is a couple that I love, Jason and Pili Yarusi, and they talk about living hard, life with no excuses. They are one intense, power-packed couple. They push themselves to the limit, and they are just really living the best version of their lives.
And they got 3 kids.
Right.
And the stuff they do is quite spectacular. Definitely an episode to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 37, we talk about goals, habits, and life planning. Just setting up your life with intention again.
Episode 38 was with Dr. Kevin Basic, and we talk about crafting your life of integrity. This one, again, also we did right around New Year's, a great way to think your life through, set goals, set intentionality, and some really wonderful insights.
Right, and again, aligning with your values. He's all about that. 39, we talk about our own Airbnb experience, how we, essentially started making $2,000 a month from our old storage room that we weren't utilizing. We were just storing junk in. We transformed it, we renovated it, and then we hosted it on Airbnb. And, from the first week, we were like booked solid, and just our whole story of how we did that.
Episode 40, I learned a new vocabulary word. It was the word dink.
Dink.
I really had never heard that word before. But it was dual income, no children. So the episode's all about a young couple, Kaio and Jesse Russin, who share about their story of going from dink, dual income, no children, to staying home with twins. The huge transitions that happen when kids come into the picture, and especially twins, and how you can adjust your lifestyle to suit your changing needs.
Right, and she talks about also becoming a writer while at home, and she's published a book on Amazon and should be out now. You can check it out.
Right, inspiring story there.
Episode 41, one of my favorite episodes, where Sunmi shares, her birth story of all three of our kids. So for someone, expecting, this is a perfect episode. She goes play by play throughout the whole birth story, and I think it's really powerful for anyone expecting, just to get a sense of, what to expect, what's happening. And
I know when I was pregnant, I didn't really know what I was getting into with the first, and I certainly wished I had known someone well enough that I could have, talked to them about the experience. So the purpose of that episode was to hopefully help other young moms looking toward birth to know what they're in for and just look forward to it with excitement and understanding. Episode 42 was in that same vein of thought, natural labor and birth, where we interview Dr. Michelle Aristizabal, who is our OBGYN.
But also an author on that very subject.
Right. She is pioneering the world of natural birth and natural laboring. And she's written some great books on the topic. I highly recommend checking her out. A really informational session for anyone interested in following a less medically centered model of childbirth.
Episode 43, we talked to John Lanza about the art of allowance. And I think his, idea of how to set up the allowance structure is really awesome. And I think it really teaches great money management skills. And it's novel. It's not something I've heard before. Definitely check it out.
Episode 44, we talked to Jeannie Berlowski, and boy, she was fun to talk to. She's a really fun, happy, lively person. She tells us about her sauna. Anyway, you gotta listen to the episode. That's not what the episode's about. No, it's not, but it's all about debt-free college, and man, does she have some really clever ways of helping your kids get through college debt-free, regardless of what your income is as parents, because oftentimes, parental income affects FAFSA and federal aid. So how to do that if you have a higher income and help your kids to get a leg up when they go to college so that they're not paying through the nose. Right. Really great episode.
And take a listen to her podcast. Really great, succinct information on it. Episode 45, we talk about the micro-adventure lifestyle. And that's just I talk about micro-adventures, which is like overnight, middle of the week camping trips you can take with your buddies. But also just, taking, a 2-3 day weekend and doing something awesome. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Just, get out in nature, do a camp out. I'm going to do a camp out this weekend. Yeah.
Right. Episode 46 was with Gabriel Hamill. We talked about time freedom and the journey to 170 rentals. Now, that is an epic number of rentals. How to manage that and how to create time freedom when you have so many rentals going on.
He also talks a lot about creative financing, which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. Episode 47, we talk about the step-by-step. This is an important episode, I think, for a lot of people, too. If you ever want to buy a house, listen to this episode. We talk about the step-by-step process of what you need to do.
Right. Episode 48, everyone is homeschooling. 25 activities for kids. We talk about fun activities you can do with the kids at home. And this episode we aired around the outbreak of COVID-19 coronavirus and how all kids are staying home from school and parents are learning, how to occupy their days with the kids home all day. So we hoped that a few of these activities would give some relief and some creativity to a day of homeschooling, which everyone is doing.
Everyone is doing.
Yes.
Okay. Episode 49. That's a scary picture from Steve Rosenberg. But no, he was awesome to chat with. He's our latest episode. And we talked to him about, the current environment, and investing through coronavirus. He talks about how he's invested through, 9/11, 2008 recession, all these different events, SARS, H1N1. And also fascinating in his story, which I really love, was how his 14-year-old bought a rental property and how he guided him through that. He didn't push. The 14-year-old came up with this idea himself, and he just kind of helped shape the process.
Talk about a form of authentic learning where you're applying learning directly to life situations. I loved that. Very inspiring. He's also an airline pilot.
Yep.
And a really great happy, positive outlook, and I just think he had a lot of insight to offer. That no matter what gray cloud is hovering over us at any point in time, and there always will be things, there's things out of our control, life circumstances. You just need to keep your eye on the goal, stay focused, assess the problem, but figure out what the solution is and go for the solution, not gravitate around the problem. So a really inspiring episode that can bring hope and encouragement to everyone out there.
So that's our recap, and that's been, our year essentially running and hosting the FamVestor podcast.
We really hope that this content has brought inspiration and creativity and just the feeling that you can do anything that you set your mind to, and we really want to be there for you to help guide you that way.
So thanks so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And thanks for being with us on this journey. And we wish all your families the best of luck. Stay safe, stay well, and Godspeed, everyone.
Godspeed.